Yeah, Steve, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, got you. Perfect. Jessica, how about you? Can you hear me, Jessica?
I can hear you.
Perfect.
Casey, what do I do with this? Why is this on my screen?
We're just getting everything set up here, so we'll get started in a few minutes.
Okay.
As soon as I go back to.
Are you still putting people in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't gotten an invite from you to join.
I'm still waiting for someone to let me know.
Waiting for somebody to let you in. What's it saying? That's crazy. Because I'm not getting an invite. I got an invite.
No, you guys aren't on the right URL.
That's what I feel like.
But I did not get an invite from you to join. Can you close that? Try again.
That's when it came Friday.
Now I went out, so I'll try and get back in.
But I still don't think you shouldn't have to join because the owl is going to show you when you speak. So I don't think that'll be an issue.
But were you wanting to see everyone else, Susan? Were you wanting to see people that are speaking? Is that? Yeah.
That's why faces in there would be better, but
Yeah, but I feel like for the public hearing part, we should have the budget stuff.
Did
Then
you
after
try and
that,
log
maybe
back
we
in
don't.
again? Try again.
yeah.
Timed
Oh,
out.
it's still doing the same thing? Because Jason just joined.
Are you seeing anything for Lori Richards?
No, I'm not seeing anything for Lori.
It's not.
She's getting the same.
So I'm using the one from
It
Friday.
says someone needs to let her in.
I'm getting, but for some reason, the others just popped up as an invite, and then I was able to click and add them.
It created a new link.
Let's see, would there have been another one from after Friday?
We're having a little technical issue getting everybody logged in. Do you guys hear an echo on your end? Is that any better?
No, not really.
How about now?
No, it's still echoing.
Hey, Corey.
Yep.
Cindy just texted me. She asked if I was using Google Hangouts, and she says she's the only one there at 4:59. So hers isn't working either.
It must have created two
Oh, there
calendars.
she is right there. She just joined.
There were,
It's getting an
I had
echo on
to
this
use a
end.
different link.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
So I just have to have this one muted and then it works. Okay. Any suggestions for Lori?
I just emailed her the link from my invite.
And if she has to, she could call in if we have to. You could just call in. The issue for me is I'm going to need my email. I have logged in, so I can email. I think just what's her phone number? We're going to add Lori in here, so just hold off a minute.
I'm in a meeting by myself.
Perfect, we got you.
But I have two. One is I'm going to do the first thing. Okay, because this is how I do it. I don't know how.
The sidebar to show.
I think I'm just up by myself, so. Did you get it? Actually, sent them to you by myself.
I just thought the pictures would show up.
Do you want me to
Sorry,
email
but-
you really quick? That I just,
I don't. It doesn't have to. As long as I have the agenda, then.
Everyone good?
You had the agenda then, Keisha? You
I got the agenda on my computer, so.
Okay.
Are you presenting?
Do you? No, because I just went in.
I just sent you the link to your email.
Do you want me to present, or are you gonna put it up there, Corey?
I'll have her do it. She's not following.
Okay, if she's in, because
I just sent it to you.
hopefully it'll work. She sent it
To the K, yeah,
Inc.
yep. Is that not, would you want to?
No, no, that's fine.
Okay.
That's why it should show. There it goes. Yes,
All right, we're good.
Can you guys see the agenda now?
has to try. There we go.
All right, are we ready to begin?
So you singing for us?
Can you shut the, can you mute it?
I thought it was muted. But then it didn't log out.
Okay, you don't need to present, she's presenting.
Right. So just take it off of here. But I'm like. Logging off. Just take it off.
Ready to go?
Just go. It's on. Do it.
Yep. He's powered off.
What logged me out?
All right, so board members, you'll just have to remember to unmute yourself when you're ready to speak on your end, and then go ahead and mute yourself again after you're done talking as we go through for our roll call voting. And Isha, let's turn it over to you to begin.
Okay. It is time to start, so let's have roll call, please.
Jessica Brink,
Here.
Susan Rensing,
Here.
Lori Richards,
Here.
Steve Waldstein,
Here.
Keisha Hickman.
Here. The approval of our agenda, we'll need a motion to approve our agenda. Are there any changes?
No changes.
Okay, is there a motion to approve our agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
A second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Jessica Brink,
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Susan Rensing,
Aye.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried. We're going to go into our public hearing. We need a motion to go into public hearing.
I move to open public hearing.
I'll
Is there a
second.
Lori. Any discussion? Roll call?
Jessica Brink,
Aye.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Susan Rensing,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay.
I am just checking email to see if we have any communications. And at this point in time, we do not have any in regards to our public hearing. We'll wait just a minute and see if we have any public comments that come in.
Would you like me to share my comments while we wait?
Yeah, we can go ahead and do that if you'd like to. That would work.
Sure.
So just a reminder that in this approval, we are certifying expenditures and setting the tax rate. And we are showing a tax rate of 12.29988. This is slightly higher than what was presented last month due to an increase of $35,000 in the management fund. We increased expenditures there from $500,000 to $535,000 in other property and utility replacement taxes. Recent change, so that would have been on the income side, I apologize. Recent changes will allow for certain utilities like gas and electric to be paid from the management fund rather than the general fund. So because of this, we wanted to increase what was available there so that we could free up additional general fund dollars for student expenditures. I also looked at tax rates in neighboring districts. Boyden Hall is at about 14.5. HMS is at 13.3, and Sioux Center is just under 17.8, so we would be lower than those districts. But we are slightly higher than Orange City, which was at 12.2, Sibley roughly 10.7, and South O'Brien was roughly 9.3. Those, of course, are the numbers from last year, as budgets for this year haven't been certified yet. So we're comparing our FY20 number to their our FY21 number to their FY20 number.
We have not received any public comments. I think you can proceed.
I make a motion to close public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Jessica Brink,
Aye.
Susan Rensing,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay. Communication items. Have we had any individuals submit anything for public comment?
No public comment has been submitted.
Okay. Correspondence items.
The items that we had there were the school AEA board minutes, and there was nothing unique or out of the ordinary there, just the regular monthly board meeting minutes, and that was it for correspondence.
Thank you. Recognition items. There's a list of student recognition items there, and then one other new one I see.
Yeah, the one I would make note of would be Gina Larson being selected as the president-elect for the Iowa Bandmasters Association. And as I had written in there, that in their 93-year history, she's only the 8th person from Northwest Iowa and only the 2nd in the last 40 years. So congratulations to Mrs. Larson on her recognition.
We do not have an educational program this month. So we are going to move on to our consent agenda items. Minutes of our March 11 meeting are there. You're going to walk us through those, Corey?
So we had our minutes that were there for that meeting. Then we had approval of bills, and Susan had bills. Was there anything, Susan, in bills that you wanted to make note of?
No, everything looked fine. There were a couple of questions just on the bank rec, something new that we have automatic. Sometimes we're doing automatic debits now for paying coaches, people who come in and officiate games.
It was actually for reimbursements. So we had someone had a school credit card out of town. The card wouldn't work, so they needed to pay for a meal with their own card. Yep. That was one of those, or if someone's using their personal card to make a purchase rather than getting the school card and we need to reimburse. So I did just this month, because I just sent those over to the bank today, printed another copy of it to keep with the statements that I hand out to the board members, so it will be more apparent of what those items are and what they're for.
That's great. Okay. Yeah, everything was wonderful and in order, so thanks, Tracy. Sure.
Perfect. The next item we had there was open enrollment, and we just had the one application, and that was a student from South O'Brien open enrolling into the Sheldon School District kindergarten student. Then we got into resignations, and we did have a couple of resignations. Dawn from Food Services, Mrs. Kerr for cheerleading, and then Mrs. Lorch accepted a position, I believe, in Okoboji, and so she'll be moving on. So we'll be advertising for those positions. Contract adjustments, we didn't have any this month. And then contracts offered, we did have a handful of contracts offered that you can see on the screen there. We were able to fill a number of our positions with Maggie Lloyd with the high school special ed teacher, and then Andrea Harms, middle school guidance counselor, will be coming from southeast Iowa. I don't remember the district exactly she was in, but anyway, she'll be joining us from over there. And then we filled a number of our coaching positions that are there, which we had a lot of those opening due to our early retirement. Then getting into board policy, there was second reading there, and there were really just two policies that I would draw your attention to. One of those that we needed to have kind of some conversation on. Trying to get in here is no, we're going to open that up so you go different route. 411.4 dealt with classified employees and was dealing with if they had required training. Was that something that the school district was going to provide, or is that something that would be up to them to pay for on their own? We had previously had some wording in there that indicated that the school district would take care of it if it were required. ISB was saying that you may want to change that. They gave both options. My recommendation would be to continue with the wording we had, but that's a conversation as a board that you would need to make a decision on that, which direction you wanted to go with the existing wording or to make the change to have the employee pay. And we're talking about required training, not optional training. District required. So is there any conversation on that one?
Comments? So the way it is now is how you would recommend.
Correct, yep.
We just leave it.
So if we leave it, we're good. If you want to change it, then we would just need to make that change.
I'm comfortable with leaving it. I think if it's something we require, then it's something that we should continue doing it as we had in the past. I don't see a need for a change at this point in time.
Okay. No other comments out there?
Then the other one was just the 411.9, which was a removal of that board policy, and that was per ISB recommendation. So really not anything we have to discuss, just making you aware that that one was a reduction in policy. And that was it. And then moving on to gifts and donations, we did not have any this month, although I would indicate that we did have a few people express a desire to help out if we needed with the food program and some other things while we're dealing with these COVID-19 issues. So at this time, we just shared with people that we were not reaching out and asking for donations. We felt like we were in pretty good shape and wanted people to just kind of hang on to their money and until a need potentially arose. So, but there were a lot of generous people that offered to help.
Okay, so those were our consent agenda items, correct?
Correct.
So we need a motion to approve our consent agenda items.
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or discussion on the consent agenda items? Okay. Let's have roll call, please.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Susan Rensink,
Aye.
Jessica Brink,
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried. Financial reports. Next item there.
Just a couple items that I thought that I would briefly call your attention to. One of the attachments is the budget monitor report. And if you look at the column on the far right, you can see year to date, the percentage that we've received compared to what we had expected we would receive. At this point, we are about 75% of the way through our school year. However, that doesn't mean that all of those numbers should be at 75%. I've highlighted a couple. In the revenue section, the utility replacement and income surtaxes, those are more than 100%. So that would be a good thing that we received more in those areas than anticipated because those are revenue items. Also in the revenue section, it's on line 19, proceeds of fixed assets that were disposed of. The bulk of that coming from the liquidation of the furniture in the commons when we replaced that. And then in your expenditures, you're seeing most of those percentages are 70% or lower. So again, just reiterating that it's okay that these numbers are not trending to match, that we are 75% of the way through the school year. So we're definitely on track and no issues there. The other report that I wanted to look at briefly is the FY20 categorical report called FY20 CAT. If you look at the bottom where federal projects are identified, these are all, with the exception of the IDEA funding that is awarded to us typically around September and October and in July, so half each time from the AEA. The rest of the items that you're seeing there, the title funds, those are things that we get reimbursed for after expenses are incurred. So the revenue that we've received there is definitely lagging. We just submitted our third quarter expenses, so expenses for January, February, and March, and then would receive that funding typically within the next month or so. The only other thing I wanted to mention on the federal projects is you will see Title 2A private schools, and then this month I added Title 4A private schools to further break out that 4A money. That money comes to the Sheldon School District, but we need to use it for St. Pat's and Sheldon Christian. So we work with them to try to identify items that can be funded using that money, and then the Sheldon School District handles those funds on their behalf. So I will leave you with that.
Tracy, are those Title 4A funds, basically that's just, they can use it for whatever, and it's we're kind of a pass-through account for them?
Yes, whatever, assuming that it fits the
in
spirit
that
of the
line.
fund, yep. So then, yes, they let us know what they're planning to use that money for. We pay the invoice directly. That's how we are kind of the gatekeeper of those funds. So we're not cutting a check to St. Pat's or to Sheldon Christian. We are collecting the invoice and we are paying the vendor directly for
Not
that.
something that we need to share together, it's,
Correct.
we just have the funds
Yes.
for those entities,
Yes.
kind of like preschool.
Yes, and another one would be textbooks. There's non-public school textbook money that works in the same way. So they would prepare their order or select the items they want. We would order it and we would pay it.
Okay.
So
There's a number of those: textbooks, transportation, Title I, Title II, Title IV. All of those are actual funds that private schools receive that we receive on their behalf. There's a formula that dictates how all of that money is generated. And then we meet with them and have multiple meetings throughout the year to talk about, even have to go through what their goals and things are for them, and then help them with the alignment. And then we get the funds, and just as Tracy said, then we pay directly, because they're not, as a private school, allowed to receive those funds directly to them, but they are allowed to expense those funds through us every year.
Anything else, Tracy?
No.
You wanted to point out? Any other questions for Tracy about the financial report? Hearing none, let's have roll call, please.
actually, a motion.
Oh, we need a motion first. Thank you.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Now roll call.
Susan Rensing,
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Jessica Brink,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried. The next item on our agenda is board member reports. Does anyone have anything that they want to share with the rest of the board at this point?
This is Jessica. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to especially the elementary staff and school, giving all of the hard work that they've done and the personal attention that they're giving to students. I've just experienced it firsthand and thought I would let everybody know. that the hand delivery of the packets was fabulous. That came this week. We received an email, and then the car pulled up, and there was the packet on our door. And then, as a forgetful mom, I missed the library pickup day, and Jan brought the books to our house and picked up our books that we were done with. So some fabulous things there. And then we've also experienced great interactions from the middle school with the guidance counselor doing Monday exercise kind of things, something or another at 9 o'clock. Don't know exactly what that is, but it seems like it's fun. And just lots of good interactions, sending out some things to keep people, keep the kids busy. So thanks for everyone for doing all of that. And I've heard good things from the high school students, parents as well.
I think our staff, our admin team has gone above and beyond. And I think in this time of uncertainty, flexibility is the key. And I just can't believe the good things that I've heard. And I really appreciate all of the input and everything they've done to step up. I think it's just awesome.
Yes, thank you to everyone for all the work that they've put in for our students in our district. We're now to our admin reports. How are we going to handle those, Corey, today?
So if anybody is watching online, normally we would have a both written and verbal presentation from admin team, but since we're moving to the online format, we're going to shorten that. We just essentially have those written reports. So if you want to click on those at home, you're welcome to click on those and view the written reports, and we won't have a verbal report from our building principals or AD at this time. So, unless there are any specific questions for board members, we'll jump down to the superintendent report.
Admin, anything that you wanted to say that I don't want to take away your opportunity to share anything with us that you want us to know other than what's in your report? Is everybody good? Okay. Thank you. Then we'll go on to a superintendent report.
Susan, I think you've got control to scroll down. So you're scrolling down?
I'm down.
Mine just came down for some reason. There it is.
Got it?
Yep. All right. Just a couple of things just to highlight there. The early literacy information. That was kind of a fun email to get. The Department of Ed just sent an email out to us indicating that the collaboration between the early literacy program and our TLC program has just been outstanding, indicating that we've been one of the top schools in the state. We've been one of the highest achieving, highest improving districts for early literacy. And so just a shout out to our elementary and Mr. Grondike and all of our elementary staff. It's just been doing a great job. And then specifically our instructional coaches and the work they're doing. And Steph Pritz puts in a tremendous amount of time working with our literacy program, and just can't thank her enough for all of her hours upon hours of work that she's doing with the staff to really help get us where we want to be, which is a leader in the state. So the next one there is the...
I just wanted to say TLC is our coaches, our instructional coaches, correct? So the people, if they're reading it, they're not familiar with that.
Yeah, that stands for the Teacher Leadership and Compensation Program, which is intended to be 25% of your school that you're trying to put in leadership positions. And so while we have 25% of our staff that are moving into leadership positions as mentor teachers, as model teachers, we have our instructional coaches, which are our 3 people at the top. Steph Pritz, Carla, and then Cindy Pruitt fill those positions, and all 3 of them are just outstanding. But when it comes to the literacy, that's really Steph's area of expertise, and done a great job.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. The next item there would be the COVID-19 update, and just giving you a little bit of an update on what our plan is there for our continuous learning. We've talked about being voluntary at elementary, middle school, and then going the required route at the high school. The reason for that is kind of unique with our high school students. The majority of the schools are going voluntary K-12 for a number of reasons, equity, of course, being one. But for us, we really felt like we had to go required at the high school level. And that has a lot to do with our block schedule and that our kids had not started into that fourth quarter block. And in order for them to get credit for any of those courses, in order for them to then be on pace for graduation, we essentially had to go the required route in order to make that happen. And I think our principals have done a good job of communicating that with parents. And if there are any questions from anybody out there, they can certainly shoot an email to their teacher, to one of the principals or myself, and we'll certainly walk through that. But that's kind of where we're at with that. The grab and go meals, I did have a link on there as well that we're going to change that up a little bit next week. That's been going great. We've been averaging about 350 meals a day that we've been serving, which has been a wonderful opportunity. Just in an effort to reduce staff coming to school and preparing and delivering those meals, and then reduce our kid and parent exposure to others out and about. We're going to back that off to 2 days a week. And so what that'll look like, on Monday, you'll get a meal that'll have 3 days worth of food in it. So you'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday meals in it. Then on Thursday, you'll get a bag of food for Thursday, Friday. And so we're going to serve at the same locations as of right now that we were doing before. Time period will be the same. Everything will be the same that way, except for the fact that we will be going 2 day a week just to reduce the essentially people out and about during the week. So we'll be making that change. The curbside library is going well, and Jan and our library staff have been doing a great job with that, as we heard already. So we'll continue with that. And then the other thing we just started working on today is working with the Department of Ed and some other Iowa schools, and we're actually going to be using our school 3D printers to print face shields to assist medical personnel around the state. So we'll start working on that immediately and get some shields printed up, and then AEA will assist with a van traveling around to a couple of schools, picking up those and delivering them where needed. So we're glad that we have 3D printers and able to assist in any way that we can.
So Corey, who will be doing the 3D printing? The staff is coming into print, or
Yeah, so we
what
have
that'll look like?
we have a couple of staff members, Bryce Montgomery and Jason Ewell, that are kind of the experts or the most knowledgeable people, I would say, with 3D printers. They're the ones using them on a daily basis. So I've been in communication with both of them about coming in and helping with the printing, and then potentially getting some directions together and training some other staff to potentially assist in that as well. Yep. Then just a big thank you to all of our staff and our entire community for what's really been a lot of support. As I said before, a lot of people have reached out and said if we need any donations to help with things, they're willing to do so. We've had great support when we did our teacher parade, just driving around town. A lot of people out and about, a lot of signs were made up. And so I think just as a community, everybody recognizes what a difficult time and situation this is, and just that collaboration, that support has just been outstanding. And I think hopefully our teachers are really feeling that. Hopefully our families at home are feeling that. And I think as we move forward, we just want to continue to be a resource for our community, and then once again just thank everyone for all of their support through these challenging times. And then staffing needs, there was an attachment there. We did have a lot of staffing needs this year because we offered the early retirement program, and then we had a few staff members accept positions elsewhere. So we've had quite a bit of change, but we're really working through those, and you can see from the staffing needs there. We've got a few things left, but most of it has been filled. So those have been the items I had.
Anybody have questions for Corey and anything that he's mentioned on there? I just wanted to note that I know we've all said thank you to the staff, but I feel like parents are really having to step up to the plate at this point in time as well. So if there's parents out there that are listening, I just really want to let them know that we know that we've put a lot of things on their plate as well by not being able to have school. So thank you to all those parents out there who do have children in the district yet and that are on board trying to help their child get their packet work done or run through questions or just whatever they can do to help their child continue to learn. So thank you to all of our parents out there as well who are doing whatever they can to help their child keep learning. Okay. I don't think we have any old business. So as we move on, we'll move on to our new business. First item on there is our FY21 budget. So, Corey, you want to say anything?
Yeah, and Tracy went through some of the budget information already. We had the budget hearing, and I did not receive any email communications or anything from anybody. I'm just going to go back and double check and make sure. No, we did not receive anything from anybody, so I would have nothing additional on the budget.
And no extra comments other than, because Tracy pretty much went over what the,
Yeah, she went over, and then,
What the
last
price
month we went
increase
through the aid and levy pretty thoroughly, which
Yeah.
really explains a lot of what goes into the budget. And so, once again, that budget is really just a guide for us as we move forward. It's always adjusting and fluctuating as needs, classroom staff, transportation, nutrition, as all of those things fluctuate throughout a year. This is really just meant to be a guide for us, and it's kind of the upper parameter. So that's what our budget is. It kind of gives us those max guidelines for us to work with.
Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the FY21 budget?
I'll move to approve.
Go ahead.
Lori?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Does anyone have any questions or comments about the budget? Roll call.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Jessica Brink,
Aye. Did you catch me? Sorry.
we did now, thank you, Susan Rensing,
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Next item in our new business is the budget guarantee resolution.
Yeah, and the budget guarantee is something that you don't have to apply for every year. It's really one of those things where if you have decreasing enrollment, then it kind of comes into play. And while our beds enrollment went up, our certified enrollment went down. And so because of that, we are allowed a small amount for the budget guarantee. And the budget guarantee just is a way to help districts that might have a significant budget decrease in a given year to provide them guarantee of cash for 1 year or of authority for 1 year so they can make sure they cover their expenses. In our case, the dollar amount is really rather small, $4,144. But anytime you can do the budget guarantee, it's good to do. And the other thing, because of our current situation, that's based on the current expectation that we'll get that state supplemental amount that the state has set. But as the state budget gets tight, as we're moving through this difficult time, this is a way as well just to guarantee us our budget as we move forward, knowing that there's certainly the potential for state revenues to be reduced.
And that number is based off of the certified. I was trying to figure out why we would even be eligible to apply for it, but it's our certified enrollment that went down.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Even though we have more students that we're actually teaching.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And this doesn't generate any additional cash. It only generates authority and then gives us the ability down the road if we need cash. Our cash coffers are flush, and we couldn't, generate any more cash because our accounts are full. We're in really good financial shape that way, but it gives us the authority to generate more down the road if needed.
All right. Is someone want to make a motion to adopt our budget guarantee resolution?
Someone,
I'll
Is there a
second.
Any other questions or discussion on that? Roll call.
Jessica Brink,
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Susan Rensing,
aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried.
The next item there would be the pandemic response and emergency suspension of policy resolution. This is written up by Iowa School Board Association, so it's a rather lengthy and drafted by an attorney, so it's more of a legal document. And what it really does is it gives us permission to do a number of things. One of which is indicating that we want to continue to compensate our staff during this time that we're not in school. And so it gives the authority to do that through April, as the governor has indicated. If any additional closure were to happen, then we would have to take additional action at that point in time to extend this. But this would give us that authority through April to continue to do that, as well as put aside some of our policies if needed for us to make some decisions as we move forward here educationally. So those would be some of the big items that we're talking about with this, and moving into our online learning and those things.
Let's see. We need a motion to adopt the pandemic response and emergency suspension policy resolution.
I'll move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion on that? Roll call.
Jessica Brink,
Aye.
Susan Rensink,
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried.
The next item on there is going to be the gym recoding proposal. This is just an annual. We did make a change last year in the company we went with. We were very happy with the work they did. And so this would be just for this summer, for the upcoming school year, to have our gym floors redone.
Is this something we anticipate being able to happen, or we really don't know, or it probably won't be an issue? Do we have any idea?
We really don't. I mean, at this point in time, we're anticipating that it will be able to happen. And so we need to get that in place and get them scheduled, and hopefully that will occur. Of course, we'll just wait and see how things play out.
Sure. We need a motion to approve the proposal from FLR Sanders for the gym. Someone want to make that motion?
I'll move to approve the proposal.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call.
Susan Rensink,
Aye.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Jessica Brink, Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried.
The next item would be the continuation of a sharing agreement with Boyden Hall for an industrial tech teacher. And so that agreement would be the same as what it was last year, just extending it into the new school year.
Someone want to make a motion?
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? Roll call.
Jessica Brink,
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Susan Rensink,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried.
The next item is kind of our AEA purchasing, which is just a collaboration of schools that go together and make purchases at a reduced rate. And so we just have to enter into that agreement annually. Once again, it's in our best interest because we do get better rates for items when we purchase through this. So I would recommend you approve.
Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
Any questions or discussion on that? Roll call?
Jessica Brink,
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Susan Rensing,
Aye.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried.
The next item is the district career guidance plan, and this once again is an annual plan that's put together, and Shelby Bosma and Sherry Zutenhorst kind of lead the path on this and work on that. So that's been submitted for your review.
Corey, this is actually for this current year, or is the date wrong on there?
No, it's actually for the current, it uses current year data, and so
Okay.
that's how they do the plan. So it always looks like it's kind of past due, but
Okay.
it's because they're using current year data. Yep. So that would just be for review at this point in time. You do not need to take action.
Okay, we don't need to approve it at this point. Doesn't approve.
Oh, I can look. Oh, this one, because it is a plan, you can go ahead and approve this one. The handbooks will come up later. We'll wait on approval for those, but we can go ahead and approve this one.
Okay, so someone want to make a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion on it? Roll call?
Susan Rensing,
Aye.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Jessica Brink,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried.
The next item we had there was driver's ed, and that would be for this summer. Hopefully we'll be able to do driver's ed this summer. And with our instructional support levy, we don't require our students to pay for driver's education. We are very unique in that sense that essentially every district except us requires students to pay for driver's ed. But because of our instructional support levy, we don't require our students. But if you are from a neighboring district or not one of our students, then we do have a fee for that, and we would set that fee at the $390, which is what it was this past year as well.
And Corey, by our, just one clarification, by our students, you meaning anybody who lives in our district. They don't have to be
Correct,
attending the
yes.
Sheldon School District.
Yes, that is correct. Live in our district. So if they attended a private school, they could, if they live in our school district, they are eligible.
Yes.
We're still looking for a driver's ed teacher, is that correct?
We are still looking. We have 2 driver's ed teachers currently. We had 2 that retired this year, so we had 4. Prior to adding one a couple of years ago, though, we had 3, and we were able to make it work with 3, so we'd really like to add 1 more back if possible. But if we aren't able to add 1, we will be able to proceed with 2, and we've been exploring other options about adding some driver's ed throughout the school year rather than doing it all in the summer, which I think our students and families would really enjoy if we were able to make that happen. And in light of things that are currently going on and the potential that maybe driver's ed might be pushed back or some changes in that, exploring things for the school year, I think would really be reassuring to some families and students as well.
So at this point, we just need to set our fee for this summer
Correct.
for those out-of-district students.
Yep.
Is there someone who want to make a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion on it? Roll call?
Jessica Brink, Susan Rensing,
Aye.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried.
The next item is the Teacher Appreciation Week proclamation, and we've got that coming up here. May 4 through 8 is designated as Teacher Appreciation Week, with Tuesday, May 5 is Teacher Appreciation Day. And so every year we just essentially adopt a proclamation recognizing our teachers for the work they're doing.
Someone want to make a motion?
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Jessica Brink. Susan Rensink,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye, motion carried.
The next item is our class of 2020 graduates, which are going through kind of an interesting senior year with our no school. And it's hard to think at this time when we're not in school about graduation, but it will be something that will be approaching next month. And so we do need to approve graduates. And of course, that's pending successful completion of all required courses. And so I know Mrs. Zukhorst actually was just working on a letter to go to each senior and their family, talking about what specifically they were needing in order to meet those graduation requirements. So I know she's planning on having individual conversations with those kids to make sure that they get what they need to get done and making sure that they're prepared for graduation. At this point in time, we're still planning on graduation happening as scheduled, but we'll just have to wait and see. Over the next few weeks, the governor's indicated that if school is going to be closed for a longer duration of time, that next week she would probably make some announcement about that. And so, but as of right now, we're scheduled for graduation as planned. If anything were to change with graduation, we would still have some type of graduation ceremony, but where that would happen, what that would look like, we don't have any information at this time. So that's just kind of a note to people so they're aware of the situation we're currently in. And at this point in time, we have 65 seniors that are preparing for graduation, and we just need your approval for them to graduate pending successful completion of all their required work.
Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Jessica Brink. Susan Rensink.
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye, motion carried.
The next items there, we've got a few of the handbooks, and these are all just first readings. And so this is an opportunity to put the handbooks out there for board members to review, community members to review. And then if you have feedback, input, anything, you can reach out to the principal and have a conversation with them. And they do a good job of kind of sharing some of the updates and changes that they're looking at, so you don't have to necessarily go through it with a fine-tooth comb to see what changes are there. So, but if you have questions on that, visit with the principals or with myself before our next board meeting so we can address some of those things, and then we would look to take action on them next month.
So we don't need to act on any of these.
Don't need to act on any of them. If there's anything specific you want to discuss now, you can. Otherwise, we just simply make them available for you to review and look at them over the next couple of weeks and reach out to the principals during that time period if you have any questions or concerns.
So we will act on each of these next month. They won't go
Correct.
into our consent agenda.
Correct. We can do that either way, Keisha. We can put
Okay.
them on the consent agenda, or we can act on them individually. It's really whatever the board would prefer. And we don't have to decide that now.
No.
Prior to next month's meeting, we'll have that conversation.
Okay. So at this point, the changes have been noted on each of these activities, or did you want to say something about each of the handbooks that are listed, Corey, or
No, we were
we're
good.
just gonna just say they're
yeah.
there?
Yep, they're just
Okay.
there for you to review, and so on your own, you can go through and take a look at each one.
Okay. All right. And then contact the respective
Correct.
principal if we notice some changes or we have some questions about any of them.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, and
Very
then
good.
after handbooks, we move into the next year's classified support staff salary and benefits. And so what I'm recommending there would be a 40 cent per hour salary increase for all of our classified and support staff. That would include secretaries, custodians, food services, transportation, technology, health services. Essentially all of those individuals would be included in there. And so we'd be looking at a 2.85% increase for salary and benefits. That's a little bit higher than what the teachers and administrators are getting. But I think in light of kind of the challenging times we're in right now, I think a very fair and appropriate package to offer for them. We always would love to do more, but based on our current status, we have to be a little fiscally cautious.
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion on that motion? Roll call.
Susan Rensing,
Aye.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Jessica Brink,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried.
The next item would be administrative contracts for next year, and the recommendation there would be for the salary and all the benefits to be a 2.57% total package increase, which was the same percentage as what the teachers received. And that would be for superintendent, principals, activities director, SBO, technology director, transportation director. All of those individuals would fit into that classification.
Good. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Jessica Brink.
Aye.
Lori Richards,
Aye.
Susan Rensing,
Aye.
Steve Waldstein,
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried.
The final item there would be our board policy review, first reading, so no action needed, but just a review of the board policies that we have there. Pull up for me here. And of course they're not, so. Susan, do you want to click on them there and see if you can get them pulled up? So not a lot for changes there in those if you want to read through those and kind of the same thing. If you have any questions on any of those, let me know prior to next month's board meeting and I will go through and make adjustments as needed when we go through those.
On the 414.1, that second paragraph where you've got the vacation request changes made, can you see any, Corey?
No,
Not on their screen.
They're
Which
not
one is
showing
it?
up on
The second one, the 14.1.
I'm going to jump over and look on Susan's. I'm not social distancing very well.
You have this sentence twice. So I don't know if there's a slight change in what you would, the
Oh.
employee must submit a vacation request and then the employee must get a vacation request. So I don't know if they say the exact same thing or if there's some slight change that
It's a slight wording change, and that's just at the recommendation of ISB.
So you are okay with making that change? I just know, before we had always operated from the other way, so.
In reality, it said the other way, but we didn't really operate
Okay,
the other way. So this actually is more consistent with how we've actually been operating.
Okay.
The other statement was in there, but that was not how we've been necessarily taking action.
Okay.
And the main reason for that, we changed that because the problem we were having was if all of our custodial staff take their vacation in the summertime is when we have a lot of work that needs to be done. And so it was more complicated to have them all take it. So it was actually better to have them spread that vacation out a little bit and for different people to take vacation at different times throughout the year. So then we could sustain a workforce rather than having everybody gone at one point in time.
sure. Okay. So we just need to delete one of those sentences when you.
Yeah, I'll go back
Repeat it
and
in there.
double check what ISB's recommendation was on that and go from there.
Yep. Okay. All right, well, we can take a look at those then, and if we notice anything else, we can let you know.
Just shoot me an email or give me a call.
Okay. Thank you. I think we're down to announcements.
We had a couple of different workshops there, both that are normally held face-to-face, but both are going to be held online. And so if you're interested in attending, both of them coming up here in April, one on the 15th and one on the 23rd. So both of them good conferences. I had planned to attend the one on the 15th in person, but now we'll attend that one online. And Tom Foose, our insurance agent, was actually, he and I were going to go together to that one. Now we'll just attend online instead. And then the Leadership and Legal Conference, I have not gone to that one before, but I've heard good things about it. So I would recommend, if your schedule allows, to take a look at that one as well.
I would be willing or interested in sitting in on that one or however. So I don't know if you have to register us for those yet, I think.
Yep, we can certainly do that. So if you're interested as a board member in attending either of those, you can check and register yourself. And if you can't register yourself, just let Tracy know and she'll get you registered.
Okay. Anything else? Good.
That'll do it.
We're anticipating our May meeting will possibly be in a similar format. We'll just have to see. But hopefully, if we need to make some tweaks, I assume this has been streaming okay. But
hopefully,
if we do have issues, we will hopefully try. Please let us know, and we can try and get those addressed for our May meeting, assuming we'll be in a similar format. So, otherwise, we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Susan Rensing.
Aye.
Steve Waldstein.
Aye.
Lori Richards.
Aye.
Jessica Brink.
Aye.
Keisha Hickman.
Aye. Motion carried. We are adjourned. So thank you everyone for bearing with us as we figure this out. So have a good week.
Tracy, I'll do the one on the 15th, but I don't think I can sign